Welcome to the Eyes on ESG video series. I'm Antoine Portelange, associate at Arendt. In our last video, we discussed IFM compliance with ESG regulatory obligations and the increased regulatory scrutiny that Luxembourg is experiencing, especially with regards to the SFDR. Obviously, we cannot talk about compliance without also mentioning the consequences of non-compliance, sanctions. This subject is very topical because, as most of you saw, the CSSF has issued its first SFDR-related sanction right before the Christmas break. This sanction is against a UCITS management company and AIFM. So, what possible sanctions can asset managers face? In addition to the reputational or contractual consequences, there are plenty of options available to the CSSF to impose regulatory sanctions. First, we have in Luxembourg the law of 25 February 2022, which specifically allows the CSSF to impose sanctions in the event of a breach of the SFDR. The scope of this law is very broad, and the sanctions include public statement, temporary bans, and significant fines. That being said, in the recent case I've just mentioned, the CSSF has not imposed the sanction based on the law of February 2022. Instead, the regulator relied on its general ability to impose sanctions for the infringement of the provisions regarding the sound administrative procedures and the accounting procedures in the 2010 law and the CSSF regulation 1004. In the case at hand specifically, the CSSF found that the portfolio of an Article 8 subfund did not comply with the investment strategy described in its PCDs. And second, in relation to other subfunds, that although they were described in the prospectus as primarily targeted different SDGs, the measures put in place were deemed insufficient to ensure that these SDGs were effectively targeted by the relevant subfunds. This shows, once again, that the CSSF has plenty of regulatory weapons to sanction IFMs. Given the fact that, as we mentioned in our previous video, ESG matters should be incorporated in general practices and general policies, this means that the risks also increase. It goes without saying, but the best way to avoid these sanctions is obviously to comply with the relevant ESG-related obligations. And Arendt can help you with that. So get in touch and stay tuned for the next episode.